Alright, peace and greetings, YouTubers. So, the 2016 Soul Train Awards, let's just jump right into it. Side note, I am extremely tired and jet lagged. Like, I literally got off a 5-hour flight and came straight home to try to catch this show. Now, my flight didn't land until like 10, and the show came on at 8, so I had to, by the time you get your bags and, you get back into town and get to wherever you live, it was like 10:45, so I had to catch the rerun that started at 11. And then I looked on my little cable thing and it said it wasn't going off till 1:40. I was like, 1:40? I still gotta go to work in the morning. What the Lord? So right now it is 1:48, and so I'm gonna do this review. Bear with me though, I'm a little tired, but we're gonna get through this. So I enjoyed this ceremony. I like 2015's a little bit more, just because I think the performances were a little bit more diverse. Plus, I'm still on the high from the Jasmine Sullivan and After 7 performance. That was just a fun year. This year was still great though. I like the Soul Train Awards, and I think somebody was saying this in my AMA video as well. Like, people can talk about like BET and Soul Train Awards or whatever else like that and try to always call everything broken hood and it's just ratchet. But the thing that I say about like the Soul Train Awards or the BET Awards is that they always will give you a good mix of everything, and the performers are usually pretty well put together, especially the Soul Train Awards. I think the Soul Train Awards has like the most prestige when it comes to who they're going to allow on the stage. And the Soul Train Awards won me over in 2010 when they did the Anita Baker tribute. That was the one with like Tamia and Faith Evans and Rochelle Farrell and whoever else. But after that, I was like, Soul Train Awards, I'm hooked. But no, this ceremony was good. It opened with Dru Hill. I used to call him Diet Jodeci because I feel like Cisco wanted to be in Jodeci so bad. The same way I felt that Don from En Vogue wanted to be in TLC. But it's okay. And but no, I enjoyed the performances. They were getting it, and they busted out with the Tell Me, remember? And remember the Tell Me used to do the jump? And I remember like elementary, I used to do that crap, but the only problem was I had really long feet and would jump super high, so I could never get back down on time, get back down on beat. So we couldn't do that song for the talent show. So we settled for New Edition, Hit Me Off, which we really did in 4th grade, and then we got in trouble because we didn't recognize that the lyrics to that song were not kid-friendly for 4th graders. But anyway, so Dru Hill did what they did, and I was watching. I'm like, wait a minute, it's only 3 of them. Somebody missing. I was like, where's the big boy? Because I was like, did he lose weight? Because I was looking at the other two, and I was like, no, not at all. And then I was like, you know what? He just don't feel like doing that jumping because he ain't trying to tear up your knees and ankles. Putting, that's a lot of pressure on the knees and stuff to be doing all that jumping, especially after the age of 35. So I was like, okay, he's gonna come out later, and he did. And they did Beauty Is Her Name and Tell Me and some other ones. It was a lot of fun to watch, very nostalgic. And see, I rocked with Dru Hill because this is back in the day where as long as you could sing, you could be in a group. You know what I mean? It wasn't always 100% solely on the imaging. So there are a lot of groups that had members that didn't always look like a cover model and they weren't built a certain way. Because listen, today I wouldn't be able to be in nobody's boy band because I'm too skinny and too short. And then, him today, he wasn't going to be in nobody's group today. But back then, with the exception of a few other groups, you could get in a group as long as you could sing. And so that's what I appreciated about them. And then Cisco did his little solo set. He busted out the thong song. That's what we partied to a little bit at the 7th grade dance on occasion. So that was fun to watch. Erykah Badu was the host again. She's a cool host. Erykah does what Erykah does. Moving on, Eric Benet performed. I swear, I like Eric Benet, but I swear he has the same song. Every song is the same, but they work. He makes it work. He's always in good voice. And I will say, he always has a really good falsetto that comes off live. Like what I've noticed, just from my karaoke trips, is that singing in falsetto, if the microphones don't have a lot of bass, it just never comes out good. But for him, it always comes out really well. Same for some people like Maxwell and some of the other acts, but I feel like Eric Benet, out of all of the falsetto type male singers, I think he's the strongest one when it comes to having like some power and range within his falsetto and his head voice. So I appreciate Eric Benet. And we both have the chiseled jawline, so boom. BJ the Chicago Kid and I think it's Anderson .Paak, they performed. I kind of missed a bit of theirs because I was still unpacking the suitcase at the same time because I didn't want to do it in the morning and be stepping over stuff. And so I did catch the performance, bits and pieces of it. It sounded good. Everybody sounded like they were in good voice from what I heard. So I appreciated what I could hear. Moving on. Oh, and then Ro James performed like right after. And I said this in my R&B is Dead video. I really enjoy the work of BJ the Chicago Kid and Ro James at the moment. I think they're bringing something it's still familiar, but it's unique and it's different to what's kind of going on. And Ro James, look, Permission is a song that I think has been a grower, because that song has been out for like a year now, but it's still getting a lot of, you know, airplay and everything, and I just think it has that just laid back vibe. And I like some of the other songs that, you know, he did in his medley. You know, you already know that's blowing up. I thought that was Bryson Tiller when I first heard it, but you know, he did what he did, and so the two of them I rock with. They're cool. I think they're some fresh new faces for what's going on in music. Let's see. After Ro James performed, and listen, kudos to the couches and everything. You know, trying to give a little theatrics to the performance. I rock with that. So I ain't mad, because you know sometimes there's a lot of male R&B singers. Because I always said this before in some of my other videos. My issue with a lot of the R&B singers, especially the men, that everybody want to be a thug all damn day. So they go out there with the shirt off and the pants hanging down. They don't got no band. It's just a DJ. They ain't even sounding that good. And you don't know if you're watching a rapper or a singer. Those kind of get on my nerves a bit. So, Ro James, kudos to you. The Soul Cipher, I actually liked the Soul Cipher better last year, because I thought Chrisette Michele and Layla Hathaway got it in. They got it in. Now, I can't really speak for old boy from Jodeci, but you know, they got it in last year. This year was still good, and I mean, like, Tyrese is Tyrese, so Tyrese is gonna do his Tyrese thing, and Neil did his thing. Angie Stone was cool. Gladys Knight is my favorite alto in the world, so you know, I was happy that Gladys was there. But I wish they would use a different track. They used that Bryson Tiller, I think it was a Bryson Tiller song, the little instrumental they used, and so I think it just made everything so much more mellow, and I don't know, I feel like none of them were able to really do what they could have done vocally with it. You know what I mean? It was like they were limited, and so there wasn't a whole lot of riffing and running, and it was just enough to get by. And I mean, I don't know, when I think of Cypher, I think of like the best of the best of the best, and it's just going to be so dope that everybody's going to be talking about it for the rest of the month. And so they were still, you know, they all were really good vocally, but I just think if they had a different song, they could have really done what they wanted to do. They were all still in their element, but I don't know. But yes, Gladys has my heart. I love Gladys. So I like that they had her out there. She had to come and school everybody a little bit. Brandy, let's talk about her for a minute. So Brandy was, you know, she was given a tribute, which I think is well deserved. I really, really, really like Brandy. And I like a lot of the other artists that came out of that same Brandy era. So like Monica, Toni Braxton was a little bit before, but I like, you know, there's some people that just remind me of the 90s. Brandy, TLC, Toni, Monica, Tevin, some of them they just give me straight 90s all day. But what I enjoyed about Brandy is that it just kind of goes to show how time flies, and it goes to show that like music was such, if you were around to remember the 90s, especially the mid 90s and early 90s, it was just such a good time musically. And what I liked about people like Monica and Brandy and them back in the day is that even though they were kid acts, their music was for adults. They may have been marketed in certain ways that appealed a little bit more to the kids or the teenagers, but they had very, very adult songs. Like if you can flip and watch like a throwback episode of Martin, and you'll see Gina coming in and singing "I Want to Be Down." You know what I mean? And so I enjoyed that the music they had was just so adult. You know, they had a produce, like the producers that they were working with, and just the delivery of their songs was very adult. So back in the day, you know, parents and people who were a lot older, they were definitely getting down to Sitting Up in My Room, or I Want to Be Down, or like Before You Walk Out My Life by Monica, or something like that, because those songs were still relatable to adults. I think sometimes now with some of the younger acts that are out, even though there's not really that many, you know, we're not paying attention to them at all. You know, their music just doesn't catch on, because even sonically, as far as the musicality of what these current kids are putting out, like the 15 and 16-year-olds that are out, it's not anything that's appealing to a lot of us older people. So I'm talking like I'm 50, but a lot of the other people who are not teenagers and stuff, you know what I mean? And so I really just enjoyed that. And that was just such a good era, because it was like you had the main divas. You had the Whitneys and the Tonys and the Shantae Moores and all of them, but you had like the baby divas, and so that was like the Monica and the Brandy, and even Shanice was a few years earlier than them, but like they just got it in. But Brandy's performance was fun to watch. I always like when she does any song that comes before like the Never Say Never era, even though her later albums are my favorite. Those funkier tracks when she was working with Keith Crouch or Andre Crouch? One of the Crouches. They just gave Brandy all those funky songs, and so those are always fun songs to kind of hear live, like the Best Friend. I don't think she did Best Friend though, and like Baby and all that. Just a lot of fun to watch. I did kind of side-eye how she kind of altered them lyrics, because I think she's talking about somebody. I know who she's talking about, but we're not going to do it on this video. Just both of y'all grow up. Y'all getting too old for that crap. But anyway, I think it's well deserved. a lot of people I noticed don't like Brandy, oddly enough. A lot of people don't think she can sing. And I think what it is, it's a generational argument. Because I know when I was little, or when I was younger, growing up, it was, everybody knew Monica had the better voice when they first came out. Because Monica's voice matured at a very young age. Like, when Monica came out, Monica was already at her vocal peak. Brandy took some years to develop because she was finding herself and finding her voice. And so, in my opinion, sorry Monica fans, I've always preferred Brandy's voice in the later years. I think I was a bigger fan of Monica as a kid, but Brandy, I don't know. And I'm not trying to say one's better than the other, you know what I mean? But I don't know. It's interesting. A lot of people don't like Brandy, and I think a lot of people who don't give her credit vocally are people who haven't followed her after like the Never Say Never era. They only remember her, you know, because back in the day, Brandy used to have performances, and sometimes she would crack and stuff, and you know, she had anxiety and stuff like that. So I think some people remember those days, and they're like, yeah, oh, F with Brandy, that girl can't sing. So, but no, Brandy had a fun performance, and when you're just talking about Brandy vocally, you just watched her voice develop with each album. You know, like Never Say Never, I think, is that album. It was just a huge album. It wasn't just huge because of the sales and her having the Barbie doll and the Cinderella movie and Moesha and all that other stuff, but the innovative sound of that album and the stuff she did with Rodney Jerkins was already just crazy for 1998. And then Full Moon came out, which was like an extension of Never Say Never, but now there was more emphasis on the vocals and just, you know, she has a very dynamic voice. She can sing really low, she can sing really high, she's always in good pitch, she's always in like good tone. I think my favorite Brandy performance is probably when she did the BET Awards during the Whitney tribute. Brandy ate that. But anyway, moving on from Brandy. So she had a fun performance. Great to see her get her accolades. I would like to see Monica get hers next year, just by the way. But yeah, I definitely enjoyed that. It would have been dope if Monica could have came out and they did The Boy's Mind, but apparently they ain't get along right now, so much for that. Jill Scott was the person who presented her award. Jill Scott was kind of doing a real mini Ripperton look that day. Some people were like, what she got on? I just kept thinking of, you know, the album cover Minnie Riperton has where she has the lion on the side. I forgot the name of that album. But that's the look I think she was going for. Maybe she was paying homage that day. But I also like that Soul Train Awards gives opportunity to people who are not A-list or people who that, you know, we haven't really heard of. So, you know, they had like Candace Boyd perform, and they had the Major person and a few other people. I like that they give people that stage. I just wish they would let the, you know, at least record at least a minute and a half of the performance. You know, a minute and a half of the performance. They get like 30 seconds and they be going to commercial. That's messed up. But that's the other thing I will say about the Soul Train Awards, because a lot of A-list entertainers that make music for black people do not show up to these award shows. It almost gives an opportunity for a lot of R&B singers that are very under the radar to have a platform, which is kind of cool. It's a catch-22, but it's a great way to give exposure to those who deserve, you know, just that opportunity. Some people just, like, to be honest, I really enjoy Ro James, but this is the first time I've ever actually seen him. I didn't know what he looked like. I got the album and everything, but, you know, I was like, oh, okay, that's what he looks like. Okay, cool. And just to put faces to the names, you know what I mean? Carl Thomas performed, which was kind of rare to see him come out, but look, Carl Thomas got it in back in like 2001, so, you know, that was a great nostalgic moment. He was in really good voice still. Carl Thomas is a really excellent vocalist, by the way. He has some really good gems on that album, that first album. Let me see. Oh, and kudos to Adam Blackstone, by the way. Adam Blackstone is the musical director of the show. And so if you saw it, he's the dude he was on the bass guitar, but like Adam Blackstone is everybody's band director, like Mary J. Blige, Janet. He does all the award shows, but he gets it in on the bass guitar. And so kudos to Adam Blackstone. He does a lot of these award shows, and I don't think he gets the credit that is due, because I guess if you're not a music head, you wouldn't know who he is. But y'all just look him up. He's done a lot of really great work in the industry. I just specifically remember him at the Rock With You tour, and like the way he did that riff on the Escapade, I was getting okay. You know, that crap sounds good in like an arena too. But anyway, moving on. Who else? Okay, Erykah Badu like performed twice. One with, what's his name? Dram, D-R-A-M, something like that. That was okay. It was cool for what it was. And then she did another piece with India Ari, and that was also cool for what it was. And you know, so they just did that. Erykah does Erykah. Erykah's somebody. I like the old Erykah a little bit more than the new one. Like, give me back the old Erykah that would be performing and she pulled like a tambourine out her bra and just get it. You know, this new Erykah and this new age, funky Metropolis, whatever planet she's on, that's cool, but man, Erykah be on some other stuff sometimes. I'm like, man. But when she does open her mouth to sing, I'm like, okay, I still know her. Cool. I I was just playing, like on the plane, I was playing the little, what is it, Gone Baby Don't Be Long? From the, what album is that? It's not New America, it's the one that came after. Gone Baby, Gone Baby, Gone Baby. Oh, and then pretty much the last part of the show was a Teddy Riley tribute, which was pretty enjoyable. Listen, now, if you follow me, you know my favorite era of music is the New Jack Swing era. That is just the best time and a half forever, because that was when you just partied and got down. So from like 87, 88 to about 92, 93, it was just a straight party musically. If you weren't dancing to New Jack Swing, everybody was partying the house music. But like New Jack Swing is my favorite genre of the past to jam to. So to have Teddy Riley get his kudos, that was a lot of fun to watch, and just doing old songs. And look, he even brought out Tito Jackson. I was like, look at Tito Jackson being important and stuff. All right. And, you know, he brought out Bobby Brown. And people be trying to cook Bobby Brown because he be sounding terrible now. Y'all be forgetting that man had a stroke. Leave Bobby alone, all right? Bobby he done had a hard life, all right? You done lost the wife and the daughter. Let Bobby be great, man. Dang. But it was a lot of fun. I think Teddy Riley, he produced a lot of my favorite New Jack Swing tracks, or some of my favorite. I think if I had a favorite Teddy Riley production, I'm not going to be cliche and say Michael Jackson, Remember the Time, but I will say that whole Dangerous album got it in. But if I had a favorite Teddy Riley track, I'm going to say it was Guy, and they had the That's Just My Fantasy. I forgot how it went, but that was my song back in the day. We used to get that in at the playground at like preschool. Got it in. Right by the slide. Bow, bow. You know, in the 90s, kids was just dancing all the time for no reason. And so it was cool that he got his just due. And I think what we're missing in the industry now is like when you see people like Teddy Riley and Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis and Babyface and some of them, there was just a hunger and a musicality that these entertainers had. Like they were so well studied. A lot of the newer producers I still like, but the element of just being a musician isn't there as much. You know what I mean? Because it's so easy to be a producer. Like I'm not gonna lie, I've been working on some stuff, and it's a different day and age where even if you don't have that training, you can pretty much make something. You know what I mean? And so it's just a different day and age, but like a lot of those songs from back in the day with some of those artists, they're just so timeless, and they're straight gems because they just carry so much flavor and just something that's so unique. Like when you just look at the origin of New Jack Swing and how it originated, like you look at the transition, because we can say like the very first New Jack Swing song, or the first song to have a swing beat, was probably Janice Nasty, and then you fast forward to something like 92 and you have Jay Don't Walk Away, and then you know, a little bit before you had Tony Feels Good, and just, you know, Velvet Devote Poison, and there were just so many great songs, and I don't know. So that was pretty much the award show. I like that they gave homage to the 90s. I think next year the focus is going to have to be on kind of mixing and blending a little bit of all of the eras. So some of the past, some of the present, and just, you know, and I'm not one to kind of go gung-ho about getting the A-listers up there, but it would be nice to have one or two of them show up. I need them to start recognizing that just because you sell whatever you sell does not mean you're too good to go to the award shows that are specifically for your main demographic of supporters. You know what I mean? Like, don't act like you're too good to be there for your own people. That's why I looked at Omarion like he was crazy that time when he didn't get the Grammy nomination. He was mad. But I was like, you also skipped the Soul Train Awards, and they gave you like 2 awards, and you didn't show up because you were busy. You know what I mean? I think. It was like that. Yeah, so was it Omarion? It might have been Omarion. It might have been somebody else. But anyway, great award show. Lots of fun to watch. I definitely think 2015 was a lot better. I think 2010 is probably their strongest year. But I like the Soul Train Awards because there's always going to be a full piece band. And it's a great way to reminisce. Music always brings people together. And even if it's not from an era that you recognize, a lot of times you'll hear samples and newer songs that you listen to now that were from the song from back in the day. You're like, oh, that's who did that. Okay, dope. So I definitely appreciate the Soul Train Awards for trying to keep music alive, especially black music. You know, they're trying to kill us, man. They're not letting us be great. They're trying to kill our sound and take it. So anyway, I'm out. Subscribe. Share your thoughts.